be by Fernando over there, who will raise his hand. Donations for these shirts will also be greatly appreciated, but they're not required.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All shirts can be found at the first table for free. Donations are optional, but they'd be cool. But free shirts.
It'd be cool.
Everyone's leading some more student projects right now. So go
Great job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for taking your seats. Now let's turn to projects that focus on the power of technology and taking organizations to the next level. Let's give it up for the Second Harvest Project.
Hi everyone, I'm Melina and my project is titled Unveiling Food Recovery Heroes, Quantifying Volunteer Impact and Fighting Hunger Together. In the United States, this is our pie. About 40% of the food produced in the country goes to waste. And this is while 33 million Americans do not have consistent access to food. Now you might be wondering why food waste, something that is organic in nature, might be a cause for concern. Well, organic food waste in landfill produces methane, a gas that is 80 times more powerful than carbon dioxide in trapping atmospheric heat. In this environment, Senate Bill 1383 was introduced in California in a multi-sectional approach to fighting food insecurity and climate change by addressing edible food waste in landfill. Some of the targets set by Senate Bill 1383 include recovering 20% of edible food waste destined for landfills and redirecting it towards human consumption, reducing the emission of methane from organic food waste in landfill to 75% of the 2016 level by 2025, and conducting educational outreach on organic waste recycling. While ambitious in nature, SB 1383 has yet to be accompanied by any accessible state or local funding. With what little funding has been made available, the bulk of edible food recovery, record keeping of the recovered food, and data collection around SB 1383 implementation has fallen on organizations like Second Harvest and its partner agencies. Almost all the agencies that I interviewed as a part of my project expressed an acute need for human resources, specifically trained staff or volunteer workers who could help process the extensive data around the food that is being recovered and redistributed. My proposed tech solution for this project was a Tableau data visualization, which was created using surveys that was circulated among different partner agencies, asking them to quantify certain aspects of their operational metrics related to food recovery programs. This data was then collected and processed on Excel and used to create a Tableau data visualization, which projected the true cost of food recovery, and in that process highlighted the economic cost of food recovery that was being contributed by the volunteer support force. This is a screenshot of one of the Tableau dashboards that I created. Here I'm trying to calculate the average agency cost involved in food recovery operations. I've used two broad categories for my cost estimation model. One of them being transportation expense, which comprised primarily of gas cost per mile, and the second cost is labor expense, which is split into two categories. The blue graph here representing the staff cost in sorting, weighing, procurement and distribution food recovery operations, and the orange bar representing the volunteer cost at a hypothetical wage of $15 in the same task. Now here, this dashboard helps us visualize two key factors. One of them being the current gap in our cost estimation model, which fails to account for this economic cost that is being contributed by the volunteer labor force. And the second, with the predominance of the orange bar in this dashboard, we can see the extensive impact that the volunteer support force has on driving the success of our food recovery programs. Regarding impacting community, Ashley Bridges, the Pajaro Valley Loaves and Fishes Executive Director, has said, food recovery is a joint effort, or our jobs overlap a lot. I think there should be stipends for organizations that do food recovery. If businesses are going to be fined for not donating, then organizations that do food recovery should be rewarded. The data visualization on Tableau and the interviews that I conducted alongside my Second Harvest representative Miles were presented to the City Council members of Santa Cruz County to amplify agency and community needs and encourage proactive discussion to identify actionable steps, allocate resources effectively, and ultimately build a more resilient and responsive framework around the evolving needs of SB 1383. I think the most important lesson that I learned from this experience was the transformative power of leveraging technology in addressing social change issues and the importance of acknowledging the lived experiences of people. Much of the food recovery work that is being done on ground in regards to food recovery programs is being done by people who have previously or are currently experiencing food insecurity or other forms of social oppression. Actively integrating these people into the solution building process can help us ideate more inclusive and sustainable solutions to addressing the challenges faced by the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alina. That was great. All right, everyone, let's give it up for our Disabled Student Union and Inclusivity Initiative by Students for Students.
Hi everyone, my name is Bryant. Some of you know me by my nickname Rip. My project's called An Inclusivity Initiative by Students for Students. And it's a collaboration between the Disabled Student Union and the Everett Program for Technology and Social Change. The big picture. Disability accommodations can help students living with mental health conditions thrive. In other words, disability accommodations help students, their mental health, and it empowers disabled students. Supporting the Disabled Student Union can help create a more diverse and accessible college experience at UCSC. By widening inclusivity initiatives from the ground up, we can simultaneously develop our technical skills and capacity for deeper collaboration. The applications we use to build an intuitive website, video content, flyer, logo, and social media content were Google Drive, email, Canva, Photoshop, iMovie, WordPress, and other similar applications. This is a photo of a Zoom meeting we had with some of the DSU officers. That's Sydney on the top left, Alicia on the top right, Kylie on the bottom left, and myself on the right. Project implementation. The first 3 months comprised of collaborative groundwork, establishing our shared vision for the project and the collaboration and what we sought to complete and win. April to June saw the development and the creation of deliverables. That would be the website, the flyer, video content. Subsequent months have involved reframing our praxis, content, and goals when the Disability Cultural Center shifted into the Disabled Student Union in June. Skills learned. Budget narrative helped us stay on track during project duration. Project timeline helped us streamline and forecast our deliverables. Organization and adaptability were big challenges we rose to the occasion for. Impact on community partner. With support from myself and the Everett program, the DSU has the opportunity to continually develop its presence on campus and online presence. I personally plan on continuing to support the DSU until I graduate, tailoring our deliverables to suit their developing mission and praxis. Lessons learned. My most valuable lesson was learning that deeper collaboration can lead to big change and that accessibility and disability justice are worth fighting for. Additionally, this experience emphasized the transformative power of community and the significance of adaptability. Call to action. My question for you is, within the labor-centric, ableist culture of college education, how can we make academics more teachable, learnable, and diversified? My takeaway: intentional collaboration, addressing inequalities, and fostering inclusivity for disabled students at UCSC is worth the effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Now we'll go ahead and transition into AEI.
Hi everyone, you might have seen me in the crowd. I'm Fatima.
And my name is Sarah, and this is our project, the Nonviolent Action Case Study Tools. For our project, we partnered with the Albert Einstein Institution. They're based in Boston, Massachusetts, and were founded in 1983 by Dr. Gene Sharp. Dr. Sharp is known as the Clausewitz of nonviolent warfare and founded the institution on the principle of advancing the study and use of strategic nonviolent action in campaign or struggle. They define nonviolent action as a technique of socio-political action for applying power within a conflict without the use of physical violence. Throughout this presentation, we will refer to the Albert Einstein Institution as AEI, and pictured above is the current executive director, Jamila Rakib.
Yes, so as you saw in the picture, Jamila Rakib is the executive director. She has worked with AEI since 2002 and was our point of contact throughout the presentation. You can see here, this is the old case study tool that Jamila turned to us. And those are some of the categories. And AEI originally created the case study tool to be a reflective, educative tool meant to help activists reflect upon their past campaigns and see what worked and what didn't work.
So within our initial meetings with Jamila, we were able to identify the top priorities for our project, one which included documentation and users being able to write directly into the form. The second one was a personalized and interactive experience. So through the 8 sections that were just listed, users could go and click through to what was most applicable to them and insert their own responses. And then from that, go into growth and education. They believe in the importance of reflection and being able to look back on past experiences and then use those to build further education resources that can be applied for future people who are using strategic nonviolent action methods. And then the last one being security and making sure that anybody who has access to this form, it's only being shared within AEI's network and resources.
So project planning, we actually went through a lot of platforms to make sure we found the right one. Those are all the platforms we went through, finally landing on Genially. The reason why we went through so many platforms is because we were trying to prioritize a platform that would be sustainable for AEI to continue to use or change, as well as be available offline for communities throughout the world that might not be able to access the internet or can't for security reasons, as well as being able to be interactive.
Yeah, all of those are great things. So once we settled on Genially, we began building our rough draft using the 8 sections from the original tool to build this new version. And then from there, we did a series of online user testing from an audience of 15 community members. And with this, we really wanted to make sure that the terminology, the functionality, and the layout that was being used was cohesive across an audience beyond just Fatima and myself. The impact or the feedback that we received from that, we used to make a final version of the draft, which we submitted to AEI. And then with that submission, we also created an educational guide for them so that if they need to go back and add things, subtract things, or make any future edits, they can do so without us being there.
So skills learned. Here is a picture of the new case study tool and what we believe with a streamlined aesthetic. Some of the things we learned were web design, like the new case study tool. Branding. Branding was a really big one. We had to learn how to upload the specific fonts to that AEI uses to Genially. We had to make sure everything was up to their style guide, including the colors, which you see throughout the presentation. And we even worked with a graphic design artist to create this graphic for our project in specific, as well as user testing, like Sarah just mentioned.
Yeah, and outside of some more like core foundational skills, some of the lessons that we learned within the implementation and planning of this project included virtual communication. As I mentioned, AEI is based in Boston, which meant that all of our meetings occurred virtually on Zoom, which took some getting used to, as well as Fatima completed a field study with AEI over the summer, which meant that all of our meetings were also virtual for a majority of this project, which just took some getting used to, but we got through it. As well as learning the importance of requesting support. We requested support from the executive fellows and our project guide, Kat, many times with how to learn user testing, because we didn't have experience with that in the first place. And being able to look for different platforms because we didn't know what was out there. So all of the platforms listed before, we had to make sure that we were finding something that met all of our project partners' priorities, as well as adaptability, which goes into the last one. Of all of these setbacks that we faced, we just made sure that we were reflecting on our project partners' priorities each time when we lose motivation and then regaining motivation for why we were doing this project.
We were able to link the Everett program with nonviolent action by centering communities. Nonviolent action is the proven most effective way to create long-lasting social change that is not harmful or as harmful to the population as it can be when you go against an institution, as well as on a more micro level, making sure to prioritize the audiences that AEI is targeting, such as those around the world who don't have access to the internet, and make sure the case study tool remains accessible.
Thank you guys so much.
Hey guys, I'm back. All right, now that's how you pivot, am I right? Give it up to the Albert Einstein Institution. All right. These project teams have all been resilient in the face of adversity. Fantastic job to each one of you guys. I'm just so proud of everyone. Now let's move on to the Q&A portion. So can we have all of the group members who just presented come up, please? Big crowd, big crowd. All right, just like before, we will start with questions from our in-person viewers first. I will now open the floor for any questions. Boy, don't jump all at once. Thank you, I tried.
So my question is for everyone. What drew you to this project, and how do you hope the legacy of this project continues?
That's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. Yeah, I'm a caregiver for people with disabilities, and so I knew I wanted to do something that advocated and empowered disabled people. Yeah, and when I heard there was a burgeoning on-campus group that was doing that, it seemed like a perfect fit. And the DSU being a burgeoning group still, it would be awesome if the Everett program continued to collaborate with the DSU to support them and to really empower disabled students on this campus. Thank you.
I would also like to answer this question. To me, nonviolent action is very close to my heart. This past year has been basically my whole life. I've worked with AEI not only through the Everett program, but also through my major, where, as Sarah mentioned during our presentation, I lived in Boston for the past 6 months. I actually, it's my first month back. But yeah, so I just really believe one in AEI's mission and their statement and just their like commitment to accessibility, but also just nonviolent action in general. I think Dr. Gene Sharp, the founder, was incredibly smart. I read his books and I was just so passionate. I was like, I would love to work with them, and here I am.
I think I chose this project because it resonated personally with me. I come from a family of farm workers, and we have farm like back in India. So this is a topic of food insecurity is very close to my heart. Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, we have a couple of questions from the Zoom chat, particularly for Alina.
Ivana, Tammy had a question.
I had a question. If you were going to continue working with Second Harvest in the future, at least outside of the Everett program?
I have some contacts. I'm in connection with Emily Fried. She's the supply chain director there, and I think supply chain management is something that is very closely related to my major. So I would like to be involved with the organization in that capacity, if possible.
All right, Zoom chat questions.
Yeah, so somebody asked Alina, how can we reduce the transportation cost and also the human cost to reduce food waste?
I think regarding transportation costs, something that we can do is build more sustainable networks around donor organizations and partner agencies who are doing the redistribution work, so that these organizations have to travel less distances. And regarding human cost, I think this is something that I explored in my project too. We can have trained volunteers who can take on a bulk of the work that is being done around food recovery. So this at least it reduces the upfront cost that's involved with staff laboring. That's something that we can do.
Thank you. And another question was for also Alina. It is, how much of the landscape around food scarcity is influenced by misguided initiatives around food safety?
So something interesting that I learned from my project was, I don't remember the exact statistics for this, but a lot of people have trouble deciphering what the expiration date label means. Like, there's a difference between best by and best before. So in this process, like, a lot of food, edible food is wasted. To combat this, we can have more educational outreach around what these expiration label means, and just around organic recycling in general. We may be building more infrastructure to support that in local communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, if there are no more questions, we will jump into the raffle.
Okay, like Fatima just said, we are now taking this time to transition into our raffle. If you haven't had the chance to grab a raffle ticket, please approach Kat right here for that now. And after that is done, we will be determining the winner. of Verve Coffee Roasters coffee beans.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. Can we get a little drum roll? And the winner is
3797
Yeah.
604. Congratulations.
enjoy your coffee beans. Okay. There will be another virtual raffle that's taking place on Zoom. So those of you Zoom participants, please be sure to enter your name in the chat to be considered for that prize, which is a $25 gift card to the bookshop Santa Cruz. And that will be decided with a virtual spinny wheel.
Oh, join the Zoom.
Who here likes the bookshop Santa Cruz?
Or Bird.
Ivana, read out the name when you are ready.
Our winner for the digital raffle is Adrian Aguirre.
Oh my God! Oh my gosh! That's amazing. Congrats, Dad. Okay, go ahead and to my dad, please put your email address in the chat. And Phoenix will be contacting you over that chat. Yes, please provide your name and mailing address. We ship right to you. You can come to Santa Cruz and utilize that. Big thank you to Verve Coffee and Bookshop Santa Cruz for sponsoring tonight's student showcase. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for participating in our raffle. Now, to close out, please welcome to the stage our amazing visiting professor, Dr. Dorothy Santos, for some closing thoughts. Love you, Dorothy.
Okay, this one. I'm gonna try not to cry. I was telling Ton that I'm such a crier, but first of all, thank you so much to Dr. Chris Benner, who's been a really great mentor to me, and the executive fellows and the fellows, and then the 20, I can't even look at the cohort because I'm gonna start crying. And the 2023 cohort. See, I'm already getting like super shaky. Usually it's like, y'all know I'm such a talker too. You did an incredible job, each of you. And I think what folks don't know is that this is 10 weeks worth of work. I know it's 5 minutes, you're like, well, that's 5 minutes. But when you listen to each presentation, it wasn't just these 10 weeks, it was since January 2023. And to work with partner organizations where you don't know anyone, and team members that you're like, I've never worked with you before, how is this gonna work out? Or being a solo-led project, which is really difficult. To do all this work, you don't know. This presentation wasn't just it. They've done a practicum paper, which all of you can read, and you can learn more about each of these projects through the Everett website. Each of them has a web page. You can see their pictures there as well for the projects. And I'm so impressed and so amazed, and I don't think you know how proud of you I am. You know, I told you every class period, and you indulged me. You totally did the weird artsy exercises I had you do for your writing, and you trusted me too. So I hope that whatever is imparted wanted, you know, and whether you're going off and graduating this year or next year, I hope that you realize that the work that you've done is transformative and it's a part of a larger expanse of the work that you do in the future. And I read this to you, you know, the other day in class. But there's this Alexis Pauline Gumbs quote that really guides my work, and I read it to all of you. And I'm gonna try not to get emotional reading it, but it really summarizes what I hope happens to anyone, not who's just doing an Everett fellowship or being a part of the projects, but even outside of the institutional walls. Gumbs says, when you think it's time to come up for air, go deeper. When you think your heart will break, stay there, stay with it. But at the same time, when you think you gotta hold on to something like who you think you are, let go. Because that's real change, that's transformation. And each of you have done that. I'm so proud of you. I'm gonna get off the stage because it's Friday night. Celebrate, rest, relax, because rest isn't even incorporated into the kind of grind of daily life, especially with all that you've done. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah!
Thank you so much, Dorothy. And that concludes our 5th annual Everett Program Student Project Showcase. Thank you all for attending, whether that's in person or Zoom. Thank you for showing up, and have a lovely rest of your night.
Yeah!
Eat more food, viewers, love food.